Hi everyone, welcome to the second training session about the Porter process. I'm hoping that the technology works this time. It's a learning process for me as well. So this is the second training session and it's mainly about the information that you're going to need so that you can use this information when you talk to parents. It's about the learning skills children need and the learning styles or the learning preferences that they have. Yabba-dabba-doo. I'm trying to get the slide to change. It is proving difficult. Let me see if I can do it this way. Here we go. So we're talking about the basic learning skills. These basic learning skills are the foundations of all learning. They are not taught in school. They're taught off the side of a teacher's desk. They're taught almost by mistake in school. They're not taught in a systematic way. Parents help children develop them. They help them by the parenting that they do before school starts. But again, they're not sure what they're doing and they're not specifically developing these skills. They're just helping children grow up, which is an excellent thing to do. But it means that these skills are not being developed in a systematic way and children can miss them. There are 12 skills. I have isolated 12 specific skills, and these are derived from a vast range of learning skills which I have come across in my teaching career. These are the learning skills that you're going to need, or you're going to need to know about. There are 3 sets of learning skills: physical learning skills, emotional learning skills, and cognitive learning skills. There are 4 specific skills in each set. It's important that you think about these skills in order. Children need the physical learning skills to be able to learn. A child who doesn't have these is starting with a real handicap. The emotional learning skills enable the child to be ready to learn, put them in the right state of mind to learn. And the cognitive learning skills are the skills they actually need in school to help them develop and understand what they're being taught. There is a link to the different parts of the brain for each of these skills. I'm not going to go into that now, but I could do at some stage if you're interested. And they are, although they are separate, they are interdependent. They all rely on each other. So these are the physical learning skills. Their vision. Children need to be able to see. If a child has visual problems or is classified as blind, then of course they can still learn, but there is a handicap to learning and they need to be taught in a special way. Hearing. Hearing is very important, and hearing is often, or lack of hearing is often overlooked. It's the hidden disability. Movement. Children need to be able to move in order to learn. They need to be able to negotiate the space around them and to understand their physical space in the world. And they need energy. Learning takes a lot of energy. So it's the physical energy that they need to learn. So these are the 4 physical learning skills that we need to check that children have these. I don't normally find problems with these, but I do ask parents to have vision and hearing checks often. But there's often issues about energy because children don't go to bed in time and don't eat breakfast before school. These are the emotional learning skills. And these are attitudes, these are feelings, these are approaches to the world and to themselves. They need to have good attitudes about themselves. They need to feel self-confident, and they need to have self-esteem. If they don't feel confident, they're not going to be willing to try to learn. They're going to be shy and maybe even depressed. And self-esteem is something that others people give them just by saying good words to them or by praising them. You need that when you're learning. You need somebody to acknowledge that you are improving. They also need attitudes about others. If they're going to work and live in a world with others, they need to have certain skills for dealing with others. And these skills I have isolated as responsibility for their actions, responsibility for themselves, responsibility for their work, and cooperation. They need to know how to cooperate with others. Often bullies don't know how to cooperate with others. They need good attitudes about their work. They need to know how much effort they're going to have to spend to do their work. Too often children start work and then give up because it's too much effort. They haven't understood at the beginning how much effort it's going to take. And they need to understand the need for being accurate, to be accurate in their thinking and to produce accurate work in the end. Children also need good attitudes about the future. They need to be optimistic. They need to know that the future is going to be good and that they are working towards the future. Children who have been depressed or have had trauma in their lives often find it very difficult to be optimistic. If you're not optimistic, you're not willing to try to learn even. And they need to be able to handle change. They need to be not scared of change. They need to understand that change is part of their life. So those are the 4 emotional learning skills. As I've said, you don't have to learn them all, but you have to know they're there and you have to know where to find them. These are the cognitive learning skills, and these are the learning skills that children need when they're actually in the classroom. They need to be able to pay attention, and pay attention has 2 parts. First of all, they need to be aware that there's a problem. They need to be aware that there's something they should be paying attention to. It's surprising how many children are not even aware that they should be paying attention to something. And then they need to actually have the skill of how to pay attention, of where to look, what to listen. So attention comes in different forms. They need to be able to attend to one thing. They need to be able to attend to a whole range of things. It's selective attention, divided attention. Attention is a complex skill. These cognitive skills go in order. A child has to be able to attend, and then once they've attended, they have to be able to understand. And to be able to understand something, they need, and this is a mistake on my part, it should say verbal and spatial skills. They need to be able to understand the words that they are hearing and the words that they use. And they need to be able to understand the space around them. Visual and spatial skills are in fact almost the same thing. So understanding is verbal and visual skills. My mistake there. When they've understood something, when they've understood what the teacher has said, they have to be able to process it. They have to be able to use that information in some way. And the skill of processing has 2 parts. It's planning, how to plan, how to use the information, and to understand the relationships. What does this new information have in relation to what they already know? It's incredibly difficult to learn something totally out of the blue with no relationship to anything else. They have to be able to build relationships from what they know to this new knowledge. Once they have done the thinking, which is the processing part of learning, then they have to be able to produce. They have to be able to produce work that somebody can grade or mark and show that they have learned something. So those are the 12 learning skills. Then we're also going to be talking about learning preferences. Children learn in different ways, that's pretty obvious. And there are no right or wrong ways that children learn. These ways of learning relate to how children are smart. Gardner came up with multiple intelligence theory. You were intelligent in different ways. And if you push that theory a little bit, you use your best intelligence in order to learn. So if you are intelligent, if you are verbally intelligent, you are a word smart learner. You learn best by using words. So we're going to be learning briefly about these 8 intelligences. There they are, self-smart and people-smart. They're almost opposites, but often you get children who are good at both these. They have both these ways of learning. I personally am a self-smart learner. I like to learn on my own, sit and read a book in a corner. I have a friend who's definitely a people-smart learner. She asks advice and help all the time, and then she goes away and just ignores it and makes up her own mind. But she learns by interacting with people all the time. There's a picture smart learner who learns by looking. Word smart learns by words, discussing, reading. Number smart, not just to do with numbers, it means logical and structured. Numbers are logical and structured, so that's why that word is used for this preference for learning. Body smart, some children can only learn, their brains only work when their body is moving. Music smart, these are children who are very attuned to rhythm and rhyme. I struggle with being music smart, it's not one of my strong points. And nature smart, some children have a real feeling for nature and for being in the outside environment, and they only learn well when they're in that kind of setting. There is a link between the smarts and the skills. When you discover how a child likes to learn, you can use strategies that help him develop any skills that he's missing. You can use strategies that use how he likes to learn. If the child is word smart, but doesn't know how to pay attention, you can give the parent strategies about talking to the child to help him pay attention. If he's picture smart and learns best by looking, you can tell the parent to show the child how he needs to pay attention. So use the way a child is smart to help him develop the skills that are needed. When a child is in school, one of the reasons they struggle to learn is because the way they're being taught doesn't fit with the way they like to learn. Teachers only really use word smart, number smart, and self-smart ways of teaching. And if a child's main preference for learning is not one of those 3, he's going to struggle. So the idea then is to give this parent and give this child strategies to change the way they are being taught to the way they like to learn. You can't change the teaching, but you can give children strategies to adapt how they're being taught. And when a child needs extra support, tutoring, it's a good idea to match the way the child is being taught to the way the child likes to learn. That's why I've asked you to find out your learning style. So when you tutor, you will know what your biases are, and you will be able to adapt your biases or use your biases to really help parents and children learn. So this is your homework for this session, and it's a lot of reading. I want you to read about the 12 skills just so you know what they are, or what the implications are of not having this particular skill. And also in these documents, there's a list of strategies that you can use to help develop that skill. Obviously, for the physical skills, the strategies are often medical. Go and get your eyes tested, go and get your hearing tested. But then there are other strategies about possibly getting the kid to bed in time and making sure he's had enough to eat. But on the emotional and the cognitive skills, there are many more strategies about how to develop them. You need these, you're going to need these as a reference. So just glance through them, understand what they're all about, don't expect to learn them, but try and look at the differences so you know the differences to develop these skills. Then read about the 8 styles, the 8 ways of learning, and the implications that has for schooling and for tutoring and for parents helping with homework. In the strategies section, the book section, which is going to be part of the reading for this course, this is possibly more clearly presented than in the PDFs. So as I said, a lot of reading, okay? The review strategies in the book section is different from the strategies presented in the PDFs that you get. I have developed a series of 4 strategies there, and this is a way of helping parents go from an overall strategy to a more specific strategy and even a success strategy for their child. So read through that, and when we come to the question and answer sessions on this, I'll be able to answer your questions about that. Evaluation is not going to happen until you have done the 3rd session. In the 3rd session, you're going to be getting an overview of the Porter process. After the 3rd session, you should have a good background and a good basis of knowledge for the work that is going to come after that. So I hope this is working for you, and I'm sorry about my lack of technical skills, but it will get better. Thank you. Bye.